ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So we are discussing about what? Transpiration here. Transpiration and photosynthesis. Compromise. What are we discussing? We are discussing what? Transpiration and photosynthesis compromise. So here if you take the two important phenomena, in case of plants we take the two important phenomena. What are the two important phenomena we take? One is called transpiration, because transpiration is the one which is involved in what? It is nothing but loss of water and also involved in exchange of gases. Okay. So if you take the transpiration, there is a loss of water and there is a exchange of gases, and importantly we talk about phenomena of photosynthesis. It is a process of preparation of food or preparing food. Yes or no? That means in plants the two important physiological phenomena which plays a vital role in the plants are nothing but two. One is transpiration and photosynthesis. Both will compromise. Why? If the plant has to prepare food, means its need of water. Water is needed for food. So if transpiration is a transpiration pull which causes uplifting of water, then only leaf will get water and it can prepare its own food. So both are, they will compromise. If little water is there, leaf prepares little food. If more water is there, leaf prepares more food, right? So if you take for both, if you compare, we are comparing both the phenomena. For both, water act as limiting factor for both. Yes or no? So in this case water act as limiting factor for both photosynthesis and transpiration. Both means here transpiration and photosynthesis. Why? Because 90 to 95% of water is lost by transpiration in huge plants, in huge trees. Yes or no? 90 to 95% of water is lost by the process called transpiration in huge trees. That means humidity of rainforest. It's mainly by transpiration. Okay. So you can see more humidity in case of rainforest. Whenever you find thick forest, automatically that is a zone where you can record more rainfall. So within the rainforest, within the forest you can see more humidity. It is because of transpiration. Why? Because there is a 90 to 95% of loss of water occurs from the huge trees only by the process called as what? Transpiration. Similarly, cooling of leaf surface. So whenever you think that from the surface of the leaf, whenever stomata is there and it is involved in transpiration, loss of water from the stomata, it is called transpiration. Transpiration reduces temperature. Up to 10 to 15 degrees centigrade surrounding the leaf. Okay. That means here when leaf is losing water through stomata, so here losing water through stomata, As more water is lost on the surrounding the leaf, here temperature will reduces, temperature decreases up to 10 to 15 degrees. So that means it's called cooling of leaf surface. Transpiration causes cooling of leaf surface. Surrounding the leaf, temperature is very less. That's why in summer we go and hire ourselves under the huge trees. We go and stand under the huge trees. Why? We get somewhat cool air. Why? Because on the surface of the branches, on the surface of the leaves, there is a loss of water by transpiration. Transpiration reduces the temperature up to 10 to 15 degrees surrounding the leaf. So, surrounding the leaf, temperature decreases up to 10 to 15 degrees. That is why in summer when we are going on the hot sun, suddenly if you can shift yourself under the huge trees, you feel somewhat relaxed. Why? Because this causes, transpiration causes cooling of leaf surface. Right? Now if you look at apart from this, so you know transpiration is the one, we are still talking about transpiration because transpiration is the one which supply water to make the food in the process called photosynthesis. Now transpiration absorbs water from root and then conduction of water occurs to different parts of the plant, okay, that means conduction of water occurs to different parts of the plant, right. So, transpiration absorbs water from the root, it takes water from the root and it supplies water to different parts of the plant. Different parts of the plant they will get water only by a process called transpiration, because transpiration causes upward movement of water that conducts water to all parts of the plant. Right? Now, so apart from this, now it gives transpiration causes, I am talking about transpiration causes turgidity. Turgidity means cell becomes turgid, that means it gives shape and structure to all parts of the plant, It gives shape and structure to all parts of the plant. So, transpiration causes turgidity and it gives shape and structure to all parts of the plants. Now, let us take very important note points. Now, if you take the note points under this, let us write the very important note points in this. I hope you got it right. Transpiration causes loss of water and exchange of gases. Water acts as a limiting factor and water is lost by transpiration in huge plants. Humidity of the rainforest is because of transpiration, and transpiration also causes cooling of leaf surface where temperature is reduces up to 10 to 15 degrees. Not only that, it absorbs water, conducts water, it causes turgidity, that means it gives shape and structure to different parts of the plant. Under this, let us take very important note points, very important, right. So, the important points in terms of carbon fixation, very important, in terms of carbon fixation, So, in terms of carbon fixation, if you take C4 plants, we have two types of plants. We will study in photosynthesis what are C4 plants, what are C3 plants. We will study in the next chapter, but try to understand we have two types of plants. One category is called C4 plants other category is called C3 plants. Now C4 plants fixes double the amount of carbon dioxide when compared to C3 plants. When compared to C3 plants. That means rate of carbon fixation is double in C3 plants when compared with C3 plants. C4 plant fixes double the amount of carbon dioxide, when compared to C3 plants. C4 plants will fix more amount of carbon dioxide. That's why in C4 plants productivity is more. So C4 plant shows they are more productive. More productive means they prepare more amount of food. They undergo more rate of photosynthesis. C4 plants are more productive than C3 plants. Why C4 plants are more productive than C3 plants? C4 plants give more yield. C4 plants prepare more food. C4 plants gives more fruits, more flowers, more yield, when more productive than C3 plants. Why? What is the reason for that? C4 plant fixes double the amount of carbon dioxide when compared with the C3. That means in terms of carbon fixation, C4 plants has double the carbon fixation when compared with the C3. Very important note point. There is another very important note point that is related to this only. Even though they fix double the carbon fixation, but C4 plants loses half of the amount of water when compared with C3 plants. When compared with C3 plants, they take more carbon dioxide but loses only half of the water. Okay, what is the important next statement? C4 plants loses half of the amount of water when compared with the C3 plants. Very important. So what is the things which you have to understand from both the statements? Let us take C4 plants and take C3 plants. So C4 plants will take more double carbon fixation when compared with what? When compared with the C3 plant. C4 plants has double carbon fixation, means they take more carbon dioxide, right? But in return they loses half water. They lose only half amount of water when compared with the C3 plants. That means if C3 plants loses some one quantity of water, in that half quantity of water is lost by C4 plants. They take more carbon dioxide and half of the water only they lose. Here C3 plant takes less carbon dioxide, they lose more water. That is the reason why C4 plants are more productive than C3 plants. Okay, again I repeat here, very important note points, ma, compulsory you will get it in the exam. So what are the important note points? In terms of carbon fixation, I repeat, listen carefully, very important two note points we are discussing, right? In terms of carbon fixation, C4 plants fixes double the amount of carbon dioxide when compared to C3 plants. That means C4 plants will take double the carbon compared to C3. That is why C4 are more productive than C3 plants. At the same time, C4 plants loses half of the amount of water when compared to C3 plants. That means C4 plants even though they take double the carbon fixation, but here the carbon dioxide fixation is double. That means C4 is greater than C3, because they take more carbon dioxide, but they loses only half of the water when compared with the C3 plants. That is why C4 plants are more productive than C3 plants. Right. So, for the last class we discussed about the types of stomata. So, let us discuss about a few more types of stomata. So, if you take the types of stomata, for the last class we studied about different types of stomata. So, you know it very well, dicot stomata, monocot stomata. Dicot stomata is kidney shape, monocot stomata is dumbbell shape. When stomata is turgid, it causes opening. When stomata becomes flaccid, it causes closing, right. Apart from this, even we studied about different types, like what we studied, apple mulberry type, that is hypostomatous. Second type is what? Potato type, that is amphistomatous and anisostomatic. Third one is nothing but oat type, occurs in monocots, amphistomatous, isotonic, right. Fourth one, water lily type, occurs in hydrophytes, nymphia and neelambo, that is what you find, epistomatous. And last one is potamogeton, where stomata is present but it is non-functional, it is called potamogeton. So, we studied 5 types of stomata. Apart from that, still we can categorize stomata further into more 2 types. Let us study types of stomata. So, we are studying 2 types of stomata. One is called as photoactive stomata and other one is referred as scotoactive stomata. What are the 2 types we have to discuss? One is nothing but photoactive stomata, other one is nothing but scotoactive stomata, right. So, if you take the photoactive stomata, photo means what? Photo means sunlight. So, here in this case, stomata opens. So, let me write here, stomata opens during daytime and stomata is closed during night time. This is general condition. This is very general condition. Photo means sunlight, stomata is active in sunlight. That means stomata opens during daytime when it get exposed to sunlight and stomata get closed during night time. This is very general case, you know that opens during daytime, get closed during night time. So, such type of stomata is called photoactive stomata. So, such type of stomata is most commonly found in most of the plants, especially in case of dicots. Okay, most of the plants we find what is called photoactive stomata. That means stomata, it opens during sunlight and get closed during night time. Why? Because you know stomata will do 2 functions. What are the 2 functions? You know that one is transpiration, loss of water, and that occurs only at the time of sunlight. What is the other function? Exchange of gases. Even exchange of gases also occurs during daytime. Next is scotoactive stomata. Scoto means here night time. So, here we say stomata opens during night time and get closed during daytime. Okay, so what we can understand, quite reverse of this. Photoactive means stomata opens during daytime and get closed during night time. It occurs in most of the plants. What is photoactive? Quite reverse of that. Stomata get opens during night time and get closed during daytime. Such type of stomata is called as scotoactive stomata. Where do you find such type of stomata? You can see in some members of xerophytes. Example, xerophytes like cactus and bryophyllum and succulents. Okay, right? Where do you find? Most commonly scotoactive stomata found in xerophytes. Why? In xerophytes, daytime xerophytes are the ones which grow in dry desert environment. During daytime in the desert environment they have high temperature. So when high temperature, if the stomata opens, everything, whatever little water is, that will get evaporated. That is why, see, xerophyte will make wonderful arrangement of stomata. What it will do? In most of the xerophyte, stomata opens during night time. As temperature is very high, it makes the stomata close during daytime. Such type of stomata is called as scotoactive stomata, most commonly found in case of xerophytes. Example, cactus, bryophyllum, succulents. You know succulents in ecology you studied. Xerophytes are divided into succulents, non-succulents. Did you remember? Right. Succulents like aloe vera which stores fleshy, juicy, watery content. Right. That is a succulent. So these all are nothing but xerophytes. Xerophytes exhibit scotoactive stomata. And most commonly most of the plants they exhibit what is called photoactive stomata. Now we are going to study the mechanism of opening and closing of stomata in case of both photoactive stomata. We will study what we are going to study. In photoactive stomata we are going to study opening and closing of stomata. So we are going to continue our discussion. Opening and closing of stomata we are going to study in photoactive stomata, as well as we are going to study about opening and closing of stomata, how it occurs in case of scotoactive stomata. Right, stomata part is very clear. Right. So sometimes you will get the question that these are God cells, we know very well, this is nothing but stomatal pore. So here what you find here is nothing but subsidiary cells, or what you call this, accessory, or we call subsidiary. Right. So when you take where the stomata is present on the epidermis. This is called as epidermis. Right. Where the stomata occurs on the epidermis. This is epidermis. Sometimes you will get the question that what is the transport of nutrients between epidermis cell and the subsidiary cell. So here transport of nutrients and minerals occurs through plasma desmata, and what occurs here is called symplast. So what is a symplast here? Symplast is nothing but what? Active transport, and this needs energy, ATP. I repeat this point. Epidermis has stomata. Right, this is stomatal pore, God cells. Surrounding this you find accessory cells or subsidiary cells. So here epidermis cell is connected to accessory cell. Now whenever nutrients are moving from epidermis to stomata, So, suppose if the question comes, the transport of nutrients and minerals from the epidermal cell through guard cell or into accessory cell or into subsidiary cell occurs by, then you have to take the option as through plasma desmata. Plasma desmata is what? Cytoplasmic extensions. Cytoplasmic bridges between two neighbor cells is occurs by plasma desmata. That means crossing the cell membrane, epidermal cell is fully filled, directly with the plasma desmata enters into accessory cell. So, such type of pathway through plasma desmata, it is called symplast, not apoplast. So, you have to remember the phenomena what occurs here, it is called symplast, not apoplast. So, symplast means directly from the cell membrane to cell membrane with the help of energy ATP from where to where? Against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient means from where to where? From low concentration to high concentration. From where to where? Low concentration to high concentration against concentration gradient through plasma desmata, and that is active transport itself is called symplast pathway, not apoplast. It occurs with the help of ATP or energy. Right. So, stomata, photoactive stomata, most of the plants, stomata opens during daytime, closed during night time. Scotoactive means stomata opens during night time, get closed during daytime, occurs in xerophytes, cactus, bryophyllum, succulents. And remember, between epidermis and accessory cells, what occurs is symplast, it is called active transport. Right. Let us continue further. So, what is the first one we have to study? Photoactive stomata. In photoactive stomata, what is the phenomena we are going to study now? It is nothing but opening and closing of stomata. In that, what we are studying? Opening and closing of stomata. So, when you take opening and closing of stomata here, this opening and closing of stomata mechanism is also called as K plus pump theory or is also called S plus active transport mechanism or it is also called H plus active transport mechanism or is also called theory of H plus transport. Why do you call this opening and closing of stomata, where we are discussing photoactive stomata that opens during daytime, get closed during night time. Opening and closing of stomata, we have a mechanism to study that we will discuss now. That mechanism is also called K plus pump theory. Why? Because if you take this, so in this case opening and closing of stomata, it depends on H plus, K plus and Cl minus. Okay. So, here opening and closing of stomata, it depends on what? H plus, K plus, Cl minus, right. That is why that opening and closing of stomata mechanism is also called K plus pump theory. It depends upon K plus pump theory, or this is also called H plus active transport mechanism. H plus is going out with active transport. H plus shows what is called active transport. Okay, but rest of them shows passive transport. K plus shows passive transport and Cl minus. Okay, so here what is happened, it depends on H plus ions, that is active transport, K plus ions will undergo passive transport and Cl minus undergo passive transport, right. So remember these three are very important. Whenever in the question they ask about transport of K plus, passive transport. Whenever in the question if they ask about transport of Cl minus, remember passive transport. H plus ions, remember it is active transport. Now let us see at the time of opening what happens. Let us take opening of stomata. Let us continue, better you just note down like this. So I hope all of you understood. H plus follows active transport, that's why it is called H plus active transport mechanism. Okay, or theory of H plus transport or K plus pump theory. Right. Now these all mechanisms, they are being given by, this all mechanisms was given by Leavitt. The scientist name is Leavitt, and the theories was established by Raschke and Bowling. Okay, Bowling is, don't imagine throwing a ball, scientist name here. Okay. So opening and closing of stomata, the mechanism H plus and K plus theory are different theories which explains opening and closing of stomata. The same mechanism is referred with different terminologies. These theories or mechanisms was given by scientist name, remember Leavitt, and established by Raschke and Bowling. Now in this mechanism if you look at very clearly, so we need to talk about two things. So guys, make sure that you note down these two names, given by Leavitt and established by Raschke and Bowling. Continuation of this main mechanism we will discuss later, but let us see what happens according to these mechanisms. So let me write opening of stomata and let us see the total mechanism we will discuss later. For the continuation of this we will discuss the total mechanism. Just give an overview, I am just trying to give you overview of this mechanism. Main thing what happens at the opening of stomata. So and even let us see the overview what happens at the closing of stomata. Okay. Now here look at this. So here these are nothing but this is stomatal pore, you know it very well. This is called stomatal pore and these are called as what? God cells. Now what happens in this case? H plus goes out. Efflux of H plus we call. Efflux of H plus. Efflux of H plus means H plus is going from where to where? From the God cells into outside by active transport. Very important. Okay, in the opening of stomata, what's happening? Someone is going out. Who is going out? H plus. From where to where? From inside the stomata to outside the stomata. Remember, this is very important. Mostly the question comes, whenever the question is efflux of H plus means by active transport. Active transport means you know against concentration gradient, low to high, it needs energy, or it happens with the help of pumps or carrier proteins, it occurs with the help of ATP. Anyway, don't worry, we will discuss complete mechanism once again, but I am giving you major pathways to remember opening and closing. Right, when H plus goes out, someone comes inside. Who is that? K plus comes inside, and that is by influx. Influx of K plus. Influx means coming inside, efflux means going outside. K plus is coming inside, influx coming inside. This occurs by passive transport. This occurs by passive transport. When K plus comes inside here, to balance the K plus, who is coming here? Cl minus. Who is coming here? Cl minus. Cl minus is also influx. Influx meaning coming inside. Coming inside. Then why we are representing with the dotted lines? This dotted line says this also occurs by passive transport. This occurs by passive transport. Remember, when H plus goes out, efflux of H plus by active transport followed by influx of K plus. K plus is coming inside, influx coming inside by passive transport. To balance the K plus, Cl minus is also coming inside. Cl minus also coming by passive transport. When H plus goes out by active, K plus and Cl minus comes inside the guard cell by passive. At that time what happens is called opening of stomata. Don't worry, we have in detail discussion is there, that we will see later, we will continue later. But major things are H plus is going by active and K plus is coming by, Cl minus is coming by passive transport. Quite reverse you make it for closing of stomata. What happens in closing of stomata? Quite reverse you make it, quite reverse you write down. So here why I have given so many star marks? Going out is by active transport, but coming inside, influx of H plus. H plus is coming inside by what? By passive transport. After some time, when H plus is again coming inside influx of H plus is by passive transport, but going out is active, coming in is passive. Then what happens? K plus comes out by again passive transport. Okay, when H plus comes here, it says now you go out. Who has to go out now? K plus is going out. How K plus is going out? Again by passive transport. Then followed by even Cl minus comes out. So here these are all efflux. Efflux of K plus going out of K plus. Efflux of Cl minus, that is going out of Cl minus, also by passive transport. So look at the difference here. So when H plus comes inside, that is by passive, it will throw the K plus out, efflux of K plus is by passive, efflux of Cl minus is also by passive transport. What is the difference here? H plus is coming out, that is active transport. But when H plus is coming inside, it is by passive transport. Then when these three occurs, it causes closing of stomata. Very, very important these two things, right? I will just quickly tell you, in opening of stomata what happens? H plus is going, very, very important, remember active transport. When H plus goes out, to balance that K plus is coming, influx, Cl minus is coming, influx, both occurs by passive transport. At that time, what happens is opening of stomata. Only going out is active, rest all are passive. Then in closing of stomata what happens? H plus is coming inside. What is happening? H plus is coming inside, then that is passive transport. It will send K plus out, Cl minus out, efflux of K plus and Cl minus, this by all three occurs by passive transport. When this happens, it causes closing of stomata. When this happens, it causes opening of stomata.